Hello, buoys and gulls. It's your favorite first mate, Micah. That's me. Today, we're going to take a look at this little fella here. This is a CFMoto CForce 500S quad or UTV or whatever you're supposed to call it. I'm going to do a quick review on it. I'm not a real brainy UTV guy. This is the first one I ever bought. But I'll kind of go through what I think about it. We've got about 30 hours on it, so I feel like we've got a pretty good feel for it so far. And then I'll do a little comparison with a machine you probably would compare this thing a lot to, and maybe that'll help you decide if you need one of these things or if you need the other thing. But it's a surprise what the other thing is. That's what we call foreshadowing. So watch the intro thing, and then we'll get on it. Okay, so what is CFMoto? To my understanding, CFMoto is a Chinese company. Normally I'm all for US made stuff, but let's get real here. There's not a lot of equipment like this made in the US. I'm not always a fan of Chinese made equipment, so I was kind of wary buying this, but I gotta tell you, man, the price was right. So that was kind of neat. The reason we needed, the justification I used for buying one of these is we have 10 acres and we're always, hauling stuff to the very back, and or maybe the tractor's down in the back because I did something dumb and I got to haul tools out there, or maybe we're building something over here. We just needed that utility. I've traditionally used a lawnmower for that, and lawnmowers just get beat up. And this year, I didn't have a traditional tractor style lawnmower. I had a zero turn, which zero turns kind of struggle on hills and kind of bumpy areas and stuff like that. So I said, hey, this is a perfect excuse for me to go out and buy a quad. And then I found out all the quads were sold out. Then I got lucky. My local dealer, he had one of these in stock, and it was blue and it matched the tractor, and that meant that the Lord wanted us to have one of these. At least that's what I told my wife. And she agreed, which was awesome. We bought it. We saved a lot of money over the more premier brands. Now, I don't have a great point of reference of the benefits and downfalls of premier brands, but I do have a great point of reference for how much money I don't have. So this one really fit the bill, and it was available that day for me to take home. And really, we've really enjoyed it. So I'm gonna grab the other camera, get up personal and close. We're gonna get in touch with it. I'm gonna get the camera and we're gonna look at things closely. Okay, so I'm just gonna do your traditional walk around that all these professional reviewers do of this machine and kind of show you what's going on. First thing that's cool about this machine is it came with a winch. Now it says this is a 3,500 pound winch. I don't know. I tried pulling 3,500 pounds with it and it didn't work. Why? Well, because this thing weighs like 700 pounds plus me. It's way under 1,000 total. It's not, I don't know. It's rated for 3,500 pounds though. Who cares? The big thing to us for justifying a quad was that it would be a utility machine, not a sport machine. It still goes nice and fast though, but it's got the winch. It's got this cool rack on the front that you can tie stuff to. It's got a rack on the back, and it's got a tow hitch on the back. So this tow hitch is a 2-inch tow hitch, but I'm here to tell you, if you go buy like a Reese hitch and try to put it in there and put the pin through, it ain't gonna happen because the hitch assembly itself, at least on mine, wasn't deep enough. So I had to grind off the back of a Reese hitch for this hitch receiver to accept it. So whatever. If you can license your machine, license plate goes here. Something I found that was really difficult for me to find was right here. That's your storage. And what was kind of cool is they give you a little toolkit. So I'm not going to open up. There's like a little emergency toolkit in there, and you could probably fit like a small tire inflator or something in there, and maybe like an emergency kit or something. So that was all right. Not tons of storage, but there's storage. Aggressive looking tires. Ooh, and chrome wheels. Ooh. This thing is a CVT transmission. I think that's what it's called. So it's a belt-driven transmission. So there's a belt in here that spins around and basically it's like a bicycle, so but with infinite gears. So you got a big, it doesn't matter, it's science. Anyway, there's that. I went ahead and bought a second belt because this is a Chinese company. Maybe they'll be gone in 10 years. I don't know. But I've got another belt. We got some extra filters, so we should be able to maintain it. My guy said he wouldn't need a belt. I don't know. It's got stuff like, yeah, so it says CV Tech, IBC, says it's a Canadian transmission. I don't know. Then EBS, electronic brake system. I don't know, man. I just went out and bought it. Let's not worry about it. So we'll get on the machine, and you got a handbrake, and there's a lock here, and oh boy, come on now. One-handed, kind of hard to use, but it does like work like a parking brake or emergency brake or something. But the first day I had this thing, I didn't know that brake was on there and locked. And so I went out to drive it, and I'm like, this thing stops real fast when you take your foot off or your finger off the gas. The gas is right here. Stops real fast when you take your finger off the gas. That's because that brake was on. So I was real embarrassed. Whatever. It's four-wheel drive. There's a button right here. Four-wheel drive. And then if you flip this guy, this is where, so two-wheel drive, four-wheel drive, flip that guy, then press that, and that'll lock your rear end. So that's kind of neat. It's like a lockout for the lock. So push the button, do that. I kind of like it. So if maybe somebody who doesn't know what they're doing is riding this thing, they don't just put the locker in and burn it out. So whatever. Fuel goes in here. We'll go through the screen in a sec. Little sight glass here for the brake fluid. So that's kind of neat. It shows you when it's low and you need to add it. You just add it from the top. So that's pretty handy. Small gear head thing I like. It looks like they used brass fittings on all of their banjo fittings. They didn't use brass fittings. They used banjo fittings with brass washers. I've noticed these banjo fittings come from a lot of foreign companies, especially China and South Korea. And if they use rubber or plastic washers, they tend to leak. So I like that they used brass there. I feel like they were thinking about maybe this machine lasting a while. Other buttons, in and out for your winch. We'll get to the starting system. Here's your light switch thingies. Here's your horn, meep, meep. And then your shifter. So you've got to push your foot brake down, whoop, to shift gears. So first thing I noticed, sometimes this thing doesn't like to go in gear, so you got to kind of rock it back and forth to get it into park or gear or whatever. So that's a thing. And then when this e-brake's on, or handbrake or e-brake, whatever you want to call it, there's nothing on the dash telling you the brake's on. Pet peeve of mine. I wish there was lights telling you everything, but whatever. Big cushy seat. I don't know if you can see it, but I've got tons of room in here. It's nice. You know, everything's kind of made of plastic, but I think that's par for the course. So let me show you how the startup procedure works. Here we go. So you got to have a key, and your key is going to go in there, which means I need to find my key. Anybody know where I put the key? In my pocket. Okay, so you got to put this key in. So there's 3 spots here. So you go doop, and then to the center, and then this thing lights up. And then you think, okay, I'm ready to go. Turn the key. Where'd everything go? That's like a position where I can turn on the lights, I think. I don't know, there's nothing happening here. So we'll put it to the center, and then everything comes on. And this thing, EPS, this has power steering, by the way. That's something I'll get to. Power steering is great. So then it's on, and then you go, okay, I guess I'll push this button. Nothing. What? Oh, now I have a red switch. Okay. And then it makes some sounds. And now it's ready to start. It starts really easy. I like that. I'm used to carbureted stuff that does not start easy. Right now it shows you that you're in 4-wheel drive. You see that? Both wheels are engaged to each other. You turn it off, and now you're just in rear-wheel drive. So it's got all the indicators you'd think. It's got a clock on it, nice little digital dash. There's buttons you can push to like show you trip odometer, RPMs, how many hours you have on it, voltage. I have no idea what that is. Odometer, trip, RPMs. So that's pretty cool. Yeah, and then all you'd have to do is push your foot on the foot brake right there and put it in gear, and you can drive. So high gear, low's above it, neutral, reverse, and park. So high, it'll show you high, but when you're in neutral, there's nothing there. So that kind of bugs me again. I don't know if I'm in neutral, I guess. When you're in reverse, it's an A. I was real confused one night. I couldn't figure out what gear I was in. I was like, what's A? And then I hit the button and I reversed into the back of the barn. So anyway, throw it in high gear. You make sure your handbrake's off, and then you can run, do some fun stuff. Oh man. So again, this has electric power steering. This thing's a little loud, hold on. So what's the most fair, unbiased, and scientifically accurate comparison we can make between this and some other machine on the market? I got the perfect one. Hold on. Obviously, the most fair comparison we could do between this budget Chinese ATV or quad or whatever you call it is a 15-year-old Polaris 500 high output. This is called an ATP. So this is their cool, like, all-terrain package with a dump bed on it and lots of storage and an automatic transmission, which was a little more rare back then. Cool knobby tires, but a good old farmer's friend. So how do they compare? Okay, first of all, performance-wise, this guy has power steering. Is a big deal. This guy's got power steering, this guy doesn't. This one gives you a workout anytime you need to steer. And if you're going like 40, 50 miles an hour, it's not a big deal, but at slower speeds, 40, 30, 20, braffing out in the back 40, or getting in the mud, boy, you're really working it the whole time. Man, it works you out. You're tired after chasing around out in the back 40 if you guys are just out there having fun braffing around. Whereas this guy, power steering all day long. It's not overpowered on the steering, like you don't feel like you have no control. You can still feel the ground, but it is power steering. Really makes you feel less worn out driving it. Acceleration though, this old Polaris with 6,000 miles on it, is still superior. This guy, every inch of that throttle button has good acceleration, whereas this guy, it's like no real acceleration for the first 10%, 20% maybe, and then it pops. So this guy off the line actually really kills this machine, even though it's 15 years older. They say that there's a clutch kit for this or something that makes low range unusable on this, but makes high range way snappier, and you can do wheelies and stuff. I don't know about that, but out of the box, this guy's definitely got some more poop than this one does. Braking, as far as I can tell, pretty equal. One thing that is interesting in steering, this guy I can do slightly tighter corners on. I can get that rear end to pop out because it has a turf mode, a two-wheel drive mode, and a four-wheel drive mode. So this guy in turf, just one wheel has power, and the other wheel is just along for the ride. So when you're making a tight turn, you can actually get that powered wheel into the ground to really blast you around that corner, I guess. Maybe that's just my interpretation, but that's what it feels like. So what else? Let's talk about value. This thing was like, I think 5,500 bucks. This thing was 2,500 bucks. Yeah, how much longer is this going to last than this? This has a warranty. You assume that a Chinese manufacturer will honor. This has nothing except, you know, that warranty right there, baby. This thing's got worn out tires. We're gonna have to get new tires on this because the two in the back keep going flat. Eventually we're gonna have to replace those. That's gonna be like $600 or $800, and all of a sudden this thing was like $3 grand. This thing was $5,500. For the extra $2,500, you're getting power steering. It seems to get better fuel economy. I like that. Storage wise, this thing has these racks which are really nice to strap stuff to, and the little thing in the butt. That's it. This guy, like this, opens up. There's a rack on here that you can also strap your bushwhacking tools to, which I use a lot. The bed dumps. There's storage under here. Tons of storage on these, so this guy actually wins for utility. Maintenance wise, I haven't maintained either of them. I have no idea. The filters seem to cost the same amount. The belts for the transmission seem to be about the same kind of money, so no pouting there. Overall feel, this guy feels like a good old Polaris. You know, it's kind of cool. It's been beat up, it's missing parts, but it was cheaper. This one's new, it's blue, it matches the blue tractor. I like that. It's got a little like cell phone charger. I don't know how you're gonna charge your cell phone. I actually think these racks are more functional than what this guy's got, but you know, whatever. So in the end, how do you make the decision? You know, this machine's nice, brand new, has a warranty, it's got power steering, it's fuel injected, starts way easier every time, it's got cool options on it. It's got like adjustable shocks that aren't all worn out. You know, it's just a nice new machine. Price is good, $5,500. Or this guy, you know, where your buddy's like, hey dude, I'll sell you my quad for like $2 grand. It's kind of beat up. It's missing parts. Things are busted off it, but it's still got a winch. It's got a cool rack on it. You know, you can put bushwhacking tools on. It's carbureted, so sometimes it's kind of grouchy about starting, but you could probably work on a carburetor. I don't think you're going to work on a fuel injection system. Probably not. You know, tires are shot a little bit, but the seat's kind of ripped. But it's got a little more poop to it, and it's way less money. But it's just showing its age, you know. So which one should you buy if you're in that position? And that's where you've really got to look deep inside yourself and really consider the choices you make in your life. And you go out and you buy them both, because you'll have no regrets and no money. I'm gonna go ride this thing and start feeling better now.